So today I'm going to be doing a grade 3 lesson for you with AR Makr and Keynote. And the learning intention with this is identifying character traits and giving text evidence to support those traits. And I'm going to do this with the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is to open Keynote, and you're going to want to create a new presentation. You'll do that by pressing the plus in the top right-hand corner. Then you're going to choose a white presentation. I'll explain to you more why you're doing that later. I'm going to open a presentation called Character Traits. Now you can see here that on each slide, I have a different image or shape that I've placed that all relate to the character traits in the book Wonder of the main character, Augie. So you can see on the first slide, I have his face. On the second slide, I have some text. You can put any text you'd like. And then I have other Keynote shapes that I've placed that represent his character traits. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that after. So what I've done on each of the other slides is I've chosen Keynote shapes that I think represent Augie's different character traits. So for example, I've put on the slide 3 a heart to represent that he's caring. Then I've put a microscope and a brain to represent intelligence. And then I've put a weight, and I'm going to add another shape, to represent strength for Augie. And I want to make sure I'm thinking of text evidence for each of these traits that I'm going to talk about later in my video. So I want to add another shape, and I do this by pressing the plus and then shape, and I'm going to choose a metal because to me this represents strength that Augie has, or bravery. And so you can resize this by pressing the blue dot to make it bigger or smaller. And I'm going to show you something really cool. Now normally you would only be able to make this metal one color, but you can actually break this shape apart to make it into different colors. You do that by pressing the paintbrush, arrange, break apart. And after you do that, you'll notice that you can drag the individual pieces of the metal, and you can also color them different colors. So the way that you do that is you press the paintbrush, and you go to Style, and then you just choose a color. You can choose more colors and fill. I've chosen red. You can change this one to red as well. You can also add borders to each of the individual shapes or pieces, and you can really style them any way that you would like to make it look really interesting. So there you can see I've changed the different pieces of the metal. Now this isn't available for all shapes, just some, so you have to check and see if it has the break apart option. So now I have all of my different shapes, and you want to make sure that you've really thought about your evidence that you're going to give for each of your traits. So I want to really focus on right now thinking about my examples from the text about Augie's being intelligent, which is an internal character trait. So I believe that Augie is intelligent because in science class, he is able to answer the question to the teacher that no one else is. He also loves learning in his spare time, and all of his classmates look up to him. But I might also want to include a quote or a page number when I make my video in AR Makr later. We want to use these shapes to be really specific in our thinking and to create really clear examples that show how character traits are there or change over the course of a book. So the last step I need to do before I go to AR Makr is make each of my slides transparent. So I do that by tapping the slide, tapping the paintbrush, choosing background, and making it no fill. I do that for each of my slides. Paintbrush, background, no fill. Paintbrush, background, no fill. Paintbrush, background, no fill. And then I'm going to export my photos by pressing the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner. Export images. And then I need to make sure that they're PNG and that transparent builds are turned on. So my images will work in AR Makr. Then I'm going to save the 5 images to my camera roll. And next I'm going to open the app AR Maker. So I press start. Create a new scene. And then I need to look for a flat surface to place my objects. Once I find a surface, the white dots will appear and I just tap. And now I need to bring my objects into my scene. I do this by tapping New, then the folder, and then my images are here for my camera roll. So I tap one of my photos, press the check mark, save it, and then you'll see it appears on the left-hand side. You need to repeat this process with all of your shapes to bring them in. And you can make the shape bigger or smaller by pinching your fingers, and then you can move it around and place it. Once you've placed it, it will stay there. But keep in mind that your scene is in the place where you've started it. So if you move to a different part of the room, you'll need to replace. Next, you're going to create a video once you have all your pieces put there by clicking the video on the right-hand side, and you're going to explain each of your character traits with your text evidence. So you're going to zoom in, you're going to explain Augie shows intelligence as a character trait because, with quotes, page numbers, examples. Then you're going to share your video to Seesaw.